when we talk to the woman, is tapping into your greatness.
And the feminine energy. Powerful. It's nurturing energy. Yeah. And I wish we can stop teaching our girls to be like men.
Yes.
You know, but to own your power in that feminine place, to just own that power, because it's powerful. We're powerful, we're nurturers. We can nurture, we can grow, we can empathize. Our way of leading is very different, but it's powerful. A woman always is the head of a household. A man just thinks he is, and you make him feel like he is. Yeah.
So, like, how did you see your parents' relationship? Like, you know, raising so many children. What was that like? Yeah, what was that like?
Yeah, again, growing up in the culture we grew up, and you mentioned something quite important there, the masculine and the feminine, and they both have a sport, yeah, and those energies, it's important that they collaborate. And so grew up seeing my dad being the man in the African culture, but also he was an amazing person who I think he had seen the future and was very, very supportive of a girl child. Very supportive. As I said, the conversation were like, what a man can do, you can do. And so he wanted me to go for it, a go-getter, go for it. My mom, I describe her in two words that I find very hard to use in the same sentence: humble and strong. Strength beyond words, but very humble. She potentially doesn't, and even now she doesn't speak much, but she's a wealth of wisdom. And what mom said, don't go through that path, don't go through it. Yeah, she could say it from a distance. But their relationship was one of friendship, was one of understanding, respect, and love. Above it all, love. So that has had a huge impact in who I have become.
So you could see a lot of the love in the house.
There's a lot of love and respect, and a lot of conversation. So conversation in that everybody was participated, including us. We're given an opportunity to be asked, what do you think about it?
Really?
Yeah, yes. We are making this decision. What do you think about it?
Wow.
Yeah.
You know why that just stood out to me? Because we actually had a show with my dad, and then he said, you know, we talk about in Africa, we're struggling, like they say, with democracy, but clearly things, you know, don't work. There's, you know, in government, but he says you can't expect a country to have democracy and, you know, things to be running well if it's not in the house. And he said in an African household, it is the man says this is how it is and this is how it's going to be most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, it's never, like you said, in the white community, it's more of a discussion. It's more like you, so that's very interesting. And it sounds like your dad was someone who maybe ahead of his time, you know, especially I think even in our culture, sometimes we've taken ideas that are not even ours when it comes to women and what women can do. And I think they limit women a little bit, maybe from just what I've seen, maybe I'm wrong.
Actually, sometimes I get into this conversation and it's very interesting because I actually disagree. I think the African culture, and particularly the culture I come from, the Kikuyu culture, was very matriarchal. Very matriarchal until the arrival was driven by women.
Okay.
Right? It was really driven by women until the arrival of the colonizer. And then today I hear people say, but that's not enough, that's not African, that's an African. If you go back to the storytelling and the story of where the Kikuyu tribe came from, we come from 7 daughters, we don't come from 7 sons. Yeah, we had women who were the traders, they went to trade. Had women who went, the men went to hunt, the women were building, the women, they had positions. So we come from a very matriarchal place, but then the colonizer told us otherwise, and so now we keep talking, but it's an African to do that. Nah, if you read our history and our stories, and I say specifically for the Kikuyu tribe, yeah, yeah.
the thoughts that are not ours, like through colonization we've taken in. I think that is very powerful. And the reason why I love that is because even if you look at till today, hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought of starting a podcast? I know it's a scary thought at times. Where do I start? What equipment do I use? How do I produce a whole show? Maybe you're someone out there who loves yourself and loves the message in who you are and how you're spreading your unique gifts out to the world. But you just need a platform to do it on. You need a platform for people to be able to go and hear your unique and valuable story and how you're impacting people's lives. Well, here at the Rubasha Family Podcast, we're really proud to be able to use podcasting to change the world. We have been doing this and it has changed our life. For us to be able to market and be able to tell our stories of people around us and the way it's impacting and adding value to people's lives. You are that person. You have that gift. You have that talent. And that gift and talent needs to be seen. It needs to be heard. Your downfalls, your amazing moments, your business needs to reach more people. That is what we do here at the Rubasha Family Podcast. So for a select few, we can have you as a guest on our show. For me as the host to ask you questions about what you do. This is a skill, creating this content, being able to film, produce it. It is a valuable skill that we have learned and we want to utilize that to help as many people as possible. So you'd have me as your host, ask you questions, get to know you and your business and how to build up your personal brand. We're then able to market and repurpose content from the podcast on all platforms, including your network. So if you really want to be in touch, if you want to be a guest on our show and be able to use marketing material from this valuable podcast, from your valuable story out to more people, we have that available. If you need help and assistance in publishing and producing your own podcast and just don't know how to go about it, how to do it, and you need that assistance, we provide that service as well. Being able to fully produce, edit, and publish your podcast on all networks. And maybe you just need a consultation call, some help in order to, how can you go about this strategy? Strategic ways into thinking on how you can use your podcast as a funnel for your business. You could use the podcast as a funnel for your personal brand, for people to know the face, for people to know your amazing story. If just one person can be impacted from your story, that is what matters. This is something that 100, 200 years from now, your legacy will be remembered by. So the link in the bio, there is a form for you to fill out. Go out there, fill out the form, and we'll get you started on how we can help your personal brand today. Especially, you know, when we look at African women and women in general, but when I talk about African women, you know, the intuition, the spirit, you know, when you're led by an African woman, we talk about men and being masculine and both play their parts, you know, we're physically stronger, we're the protectors, but the women, even the women can be protected in different ways, you know, with the intuition, with the sense, with the spirit, with the guidance, you know, and like, I think, like you're saying, is more, we need to tap more into that, especially when we talk to the woman, is tapping into your greatness.
And the feminine energy, it's nurturing energy.
Yeah.
And I wish we can stop teaching our girls to be like men.
Yes.
You know, but to own your power in that feminine place, to just own that power because it's powerful. We're powerful, we're nurturers. We can nurture, we can grow, we can empathize, we can, our way of leading is very different, but it's powerful. But it's then, I think what we're struggling with is learning how do the two collaborate. How do we partner together? Because constantly the patriarchal world that was introduced by the colonizer is domineering. And I tell you what to do. If we go to the biblical side of it, and we talk about the woman or the man being the head, then if the woman is the neck, it's actually quite powerful because you can't turn. Right? So the neck, ideally. And I take this from my grandmother. As I said, I come from a lineage of powerful women. And my grandmother used to tell me, a woman always is the head of a household. The man just thinks he is, and you make him feel like he is. but you make the decisions, or the decision through him. You make the decisions, but you have to be wise in how you do that. And I think that wisdom is the wisdom we've missed somewhere. So now we want to be equal, and we want to, and there's nothing wrong with being equal, but it's equal in me bringing my feminine energy and the man bringing their masculine energy, and then we partner.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're gonna love that one.